the coda. Elenarifanala. Elenarifanala. Does that make sense? A, A coda. And then that's it. Shalom Aleichem. All right. Eric, thank you. It's a pleasure.
I hope it sounds all right.
It sounds amazing.
I'm definitely taken.
You're doing
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Michael. Is that everything? Oh, sure. Is that everything, or is it more? Yeah. That's it? Oh, yeah. Easy. Yeah. Does that mean the rehearsal's officially over and the gig starts in 5 minutes?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Spring is springing. Baruch Hashem. Really, thank God. It is good to have the earth softening and our hearts softening with the changing of the seasons. We made it through another long winter. So congratulations. Welcome to those who are joining us through the live stream. We're glad you're here. Shabbat Shalom. Just a click away, there's the link to our Sidur Pirchei Kodesh. Our service will begin on page 105. Those who are gathered in the Mishkan, you can find the prayer book likely in the seat just in front of you. Page 105, Yedid Nefesh.
Hi, 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 rai, 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 yai, rai, 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 yai, rai, rai, yai, rai, 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 rai. Yedid nefesh Aman Meshochavedach Eretzonach Ohoy Arutz Avedach Kemo Ayal Yishtachave Al Mol Hatarach Yerav Lo Yedid Otach Minofet Suf V'chol Ta'am Ay, 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 Ahavatach Ana Elena Refana La Beharot La Noam Zifach Az Titchazek V'titrape V'hayetalach Shivchat Olam Ay, 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 ay,
Turn to light candles, let's turn to one another, see if you can find someone you don't yet know. Introduce yourselves. Wish each other Shabbat Shalom.
Great.
It's our one.
So let's turn to light candles now, and to lead us, I'd like to invite all the engaged couples and the newlywed couples. Come and join us over here with these candles, and Mark and Michelle will lead us with the lighting of these candles as you prepare to make your way to the chuppah. Don't be shy, come on up. You know who you are.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Na la Adonai, Naria litzo yishe. Lechun ranena la Adonai, Naria litzo yishe. Nikadma fana b'toda, izmirot naria lo. Nikadma fana b'toda, izmirot naria lo. Let's hear everyone. Lefuna ranena. Lefuna ranena la Adonai, Naria litzo yishe. Lefuna ranena la Adonai, Naria litzo yishe. Nikadma fana b'toda, izmirot naria lo. Nikadma fana b'toda, izmirot naria lo. Ki el gadol Adonai, hu melech gadol al kol Elohim. Ki el gadol Adonai, hu melech gadol al kol Elohim. La Adonai, Naria litzo yishe. Lechun ranena la Adonai, Naria litzo yishe. Nikadma fana b'toda, izmirot naria lo. נקדמה בתודה, בזמירות נריע לא, 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 לא. And as we continue to welcome in Shabbat with joy and with praise on the middle of page 113, Psalm 29, I just want to take a moment and introduce our fabulous musicians who help us pray on this Shabbat. Of course, Jason Jestat on piano, Paul Ormandy on percussion, Shelley Miller on bass, and a new addition to our ensemble this week, Eric Stein. Many of you may know him as the artistic director of Ashkenaz Festival, and we're thrilled to have you on mandolin tonight. So welcome. And we continue, page 113. Adonai, Oz le'amo yiten Adonai, Yivarech et amo b'shalom. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai,
Last Shabbat, we were fortunate enough to welcome Anna Kislansky, the lead of the Israeli Reform Movement, who came to be with us despite such a busy time for her in Israel. And she brought with her this gift for me to share with the congregation. This is the new prayer book for the Reform Movement in Israel. It's now available in translation in English as well. And I want you to know, we weren't so public about it, but Holy Blossom Temple helped to make a contribution towards the printing of this Siddur for our Israeli brothers and sisters. So I'm delighted to share with you, as we prepare for L'Chadodi, a beautiful poem contained in this prayer book. And this is one way that this Siddur is uniquely Israeli. It's filled with poetry and songs of Israel, including this contemporary poem by Rachel Shapira. And she asks the kinds of questions that we should be asking ourselves exactly at this moment. As we're closing off the week, as we're welcoming Shabbat, we should ask questions of ourselves, reflecting on the week past. What did we endure? What did we accomplish? What did we learn? What did we give? So hear this poem entitled Shabbat in Your Heart. Twilight quickly descends. It is soon Shabbat in your heart. The long week slowly slips off your shoulders. You ask, what have you repaired, and what remains broken still? And which of your actions, daughter, should be forgotten as the sun goes down? From where does the blessing come? What is your power? What in you does not back down from darkness as the sun goes down? From where does the blessing come? You ask, what did you give? What lurks like a debt between him and you? Stick with good for now. Believe in it with all your might. You ask, what have you muted? Did you say too much, for better or for worse? And what sin did you find in the bread of routine as the sun goes down? From where does the blessing come? What is your power? What in you does not back down from darkness as the sun goes down? From where does the blessing come?
לקראת קלה, לשבת לקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, לשבת לקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, ישמענו אל המנחה. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בשבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בשבת לקבלה. לקראת שבת לחופנך, כי מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוך, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בשבת נקבלה. שיר תפרי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך אדוני לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך אדוני לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך אדוני לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה 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 מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות צדיק התמר יברח כארז בלבנון יזכה שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינבון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו והגיד כי השר אדוני צורי ולא הבלטה
Page 119, we stand together.
את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Yom v'layla, golel or mipnei chol. Night becomes day, day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech, kolel or mipnei choshech, choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Umavhir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim.
Together, unending love have you shown your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will reflect on the meaning of your laws and rejoice in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever. For they are our life and the length of our days. On them we will meditate day and night. May your love never depart from us. Praised are you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Ki hem chayenu ve'yorech yameinu, v'hem negei yomam v'layla, ve'avatecha letasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibartam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 124. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone are our God, there is none else, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign, you deliver us from the hands of oppressors, and save us from the fist of tyrants. You do wonders without number, marvels that surpass our understanding. You give us our life, by your help we survive, all who seek our destruction. You did wonders for us in the land of Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh. You led your people Israel out forever to serve you in freedom. When your children witnessed your power, they extolled you and gave you thanks. Willingly they enthroned you, and full of joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang this song.
La Hashem Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh norati Lord, osefele, malchut haravu banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, malchut haravu banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, ze li, anu v'yameru, Adonai imlo, leolam va'ed, yalalai, 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 v'nemar kifata Adonai et Yaakov u'gyalom yad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael Yalalai, 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 yalalai,
We pray together for God's protection. Grant that we may lie down in peace, Adonai our God, and raise us up, O Sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful Sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. Guard our coming and our going, that now and always we may have life and peace. Praised are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha, baruch ata Adonai, hapore sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Shabbat, et ha-Shabbat, la-hasod, et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי עוד היא לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפל. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ברית עולם. יתקדל ויתקדש מרבה, ילמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ועלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה לאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. We continue praying the Amidah privately now through page 136.
שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Turn to page 137 for our prayers for healing. The human body has a remarkable capacity to heal. And the earth, too, has a remarkable ability, a natural ability to heal when we give it a chance. It is noteworthy that what God has created has this built-in ability to heal. But what we create, relationships, projects that we pursue, cities and countries and civilizations that we construct, all these need constant care and attention in order to heal. So as we turn our prayers to the theme of healing, we acknowledge that the land we are fortunate enough to gather on for prayer and for sacred community life has been the traditional homeland of many indigenous peoples for millennia. Let us attend to those relationships through the work of truth and reconciliation so that there might be healing for all Canadians. We ask that God will grant a refuah shlema, a complete healing of body and spirit to those among us who seek it, to our loved ones near and far who are in need of healing, and we mention by name these friends and family of our congregation. Johanna Falk, Chana Bat Gittel, Joel Sears, Gittel Yaakova Bat Sarah Ushmuel, Moshe Gershon ben Rachel Leah Uvaruch Shalom Chaim, Eliyahu ben Rachel veChaim Yitzchak, Sarah Bat Devora, Gavriel Nisan ben Reze veShulem, Chana Gittel Bat Geula uMoshe, Elisheva Bat Saragila veNachman, Moshe ben Elka veYitzchak David, Blumat Cyril Bat Shena Frima, Hudi Cherendoff, Herschel ben Hanoch veChava, Miriam bat Sarah Leah uVinyamin, Roxanne Clark, Mordechai Ron ben Rachel. Are there any other names to be called into our prayers for healing tonight?
Narfanala, El Narfanala, El Na, El Na, El Narfanala, El Narfanala. Fanala, Elna, 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 Fanala, Yaira, Lekor HaChayim.
Yesterday was Rosh Chodesh Nisan. According to the book of Shmot, according to our Torah, yesterday was not only the first day of the new moon, the first day of the new month of Nisan, but it was also Rosh Hashanah, New Year's Day, the first of the year, the first of the Hebrew calendar. Not only does this month get a special name, Chodesh HaAviv, the month of the spring, but there is a note about Nisan that must not be overlooked. There it is written, HaChodesh hazeh lachem, Rosh Chodashim Rishon hu lachem lechodshei Hashanah. This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the month of the year for you. And then it goes on to describe the rituals for Pesach. Pesach is coming. We should feel it in the weather. We should feel it in our kitchens. We should feel it in the lists we're making so that everything is just so on the Seder table, the lists that we're making for inviting guests, for receiving guests, and for being guests. And we can help with that, by the way. We can help to make some good matches if you're looking for a guest or if you'd like to be a guest. The entire Jewish calendar is constructed around this attention paid to the month of Nisan. This mitzvah is what has made our rabbis construct this incredible calendar without a computer, without the internet, without knowing too much about the cosmos and how it works. They constructed this perfect calendar, which is a perfect blending of the lunar calendar and the solar calendar. Ramadan has just begun for our Muslim friends and neighbors, and you know that Ramadan floats throughout the year, throughout the seasons of the year, because they keep a pure lunar calendar. But our calendar is this merging and blending of lunar and solar. So back to that verse, HaChodesh hazeh lachem, this month shall be for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the month of the year, lachem, for you. What is the meaning of that word lachem? It seems superfluous. It would have been enough to say this month shall mark the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the month of the year. That would have been plenty. So why lachem? And why lachem twice, as if to emphasize? Don't miss the point. It is for you. Our sages teach that this was God's way of saying that the calendar and the keeping of time, the measuring of our days, is for your sake. And it is for you to do. There's a Talmudic debate that takes this teaching to an extreme. Really, the rabbis go to this radical place to prove the point, just how seriously we take this invitation, this human responsibility of timekeeping. The rabbis determined that New Year's Day, Rosh Hashanah, will not fall in Nisan, but rather Tishrei, in the fall, right? They break away from what seems to be implied in Torah itself, that Nisan, in the spring, when the whole world is waking up, that's the beginning of the year. And through the rabbinic tradition, it turns out, lachem, it is for our sake that we keep the calendar the way we intend to keep it. We can make this change because God said so. God said, lachem, for you. I give you permission. God set the orbits of sun and moon and planets into motion. All have their God-given cycles. Why then is timekeeping given over to a human endeavor? God has no need for time. When your name is eternity, time is meaningless. So says Shlomo ibn Gabirol, the poet of the 11th century Spain, who gave us Adon Olam. Vehu haya, vehu hoveh, vehu yihiyeh b'tifara. God was, is, will be. God is infinity. God is for all time. And so timekeeping and measuring is not God's business, but our business. Now, we don't like to talk about it very much, but we are mortal. And so keeping time is a great teacher. God intended timekeeping to be a device for reminding us to use our days well and to fill them with meaning. Some of you know I just returned from Cincinnati, Ohio, where I received an honorary degree. I earned it in no way other than surviving 25 years in the rabbinate. It was great to be back on the impressive, original campus of Hebrew Union College. It was Founders Day yesterday, when we remember Isaac Mayer Wise and the other leading figures of the College Institute, which, by the way, houses the largest Jewish library outside of the land of Israel and houses the American Jewish Archives as well. So it really is a treasure, not only of the Reform movement, but of Jewish people everywhere. This trip was made even more meaningful for me because I got to share it with our temple president, Phyllis Denneberg, and our past president, Judy Winberg. It was really so thoughtful of them to join me for the occasion. The trip was made even more meaningful because I received my hood from one of my teachers and a longtime family friend, Rabbi Dr. Gary Zola. Some of you remember him. He's come to teach at Holy Blossom a number of times as our scholar in residence. And this trip was made more meaningful because I got to see Rabbi Karen Tomashow and Rabbi Zachary Goodman. And not only that, but Rabbi Tomashow gave the address for the occasion, and it was knockout, really. Such a well-deserved honor and a beautifully, masterfully crafted message for the day. And it was also made meaningful for me because I got to see my second and third cousins. And all those little cousins are now grown up and they have little ones of their own. And so I became acutely aware over and over and over again about the passing of time. Not only returning to the place of my childhood, not only returning to visit my teachers who are getting older and still wiser. Everywhere I looked was a reminder about the passing of time. Even these little cousins, I brought them Roots t-shirts and Smarties. Before the ceremonies began, I gathered with my classmates for an hour of study with the provost of Hebrew Union College. And of all texts, she chose Psalm 90. So I invite you now to open up your prayer book to page 342. Because while much of the world tries to pretend away the passage of time, our sacred texts lift it up and make it sacred. A prayer for Moses, man of God. And some suggest that we can read this like a eulogy for Moses. The first stanza establishes that God is forever. Adonai, you have been our refuge in every generation. Before mountains were born, before you brought forth earth and universe from eternity to eternity. Me'olam va'ad olam ata el, you are God. The second stanza establishes the fact that we are not forever. You turn mortals to dust. You decree, return, children of the earth. For 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday, gone as a watch in the night. The span of our life is but 70 years, or given strength, 80 years. The psalmist keeps it real. A full life is 70 or 80 years. Consider yourself lucky to have a full life. But the best of those years have trouble and sorrow. They pass by swiftly and we fly off. And as I was studying this verse with my classmates and friends, I saw it in a new light. We talked about all the good people that we have buried over 25 years. All the life examples that we have studied and honored. And we know that they worked hard during their days, that some struggled, some succeeded, but they all toiled. There can be effort and burdens carried in a lifetime, but at the end of our days, we fly off. We are light as air. We can set down those burdens at the end of our days and be uplifted Godward. And then comes the clincher of the psalm, really the hinge verse. Everything pivots now. Teach us, therefore, to number our days that we may attain levav chokhmah, a heart of wisdom. Timekeeping is our teacher. Being acutely aware of the passing of time is where we find our wisdom. And what is the seat of wisdom? Not the mind, but the heart. And then the psalm concludes. You can turn your eyes to the next page, to those concluding words. U'ma'aseh yadeinu konena aleinu, u'ma'aseh yadeinu konenehu. Let the work of our hands endure for us. Let the work of our hands endure. The voice of the psalmist here is pleading. Please, God, let something of what I have done with this lifetime endure. I know that my time is short, but let my contribution somehow remain, even beyond me. So, secular society says, wash away the gray and use this surgery or this magic cream for wrinkles, and we put our cemeteries on the outskirts of town, out of sight, out of mind. But in Jewish tradition, sacred timekeeping is to be held up, to be acknowledged, and to be celebrated. Morning and evening after morning and evening. We do it through the ritual of prayer. We do it through the ritual of holidays, Seder after Seder. We sit at that table and we feel that we are changed. We're not the same as we were last year when we sat at that table. Some people are missing now. Thank God others have come into the world and we have grown. And I want to recognize the mourners among us. You are acutely aware of the passing of time. And soon we'll recite Yizkor on the 7th day of Pesach to reinforce this Psalm 90. So it's not to frighten us, God forbid, but it is to teach us. It is to instruct us. We don't pretend our mortality away. We lift it up and study it. We examine its value, and yes, we make it sacred. Lachem, God says, it is for you, it is for your sake, that I command you to keep and to measure time so that you may attain a heart of wisdom. Shabbat Shalom. Aleinu l'shabeach, page 139.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
The mourner's Kaddish may be found on page 142. We invite the mourners among us to rise in your place so that we can acknowledge you if you are marking Yartzeit this day, if you are remembering a loved one who has died within the year. We extend our condolences to you now. Today we mark the Yartzeit of Irving Appleby, John Batcher, Annie Banks, Louis Burke, Esther Byback, Marilyn Blumenthal, Jenny Brody, Janice Carmichael, Noam Cohen, Rose Cohen, Louis Cooper, Harry Davidson, Mitchell Duckman, Lillian Ennis, Philip Feldberg, Louis Fogel, Annie Gans, Manuel Gans, Jean Glazer, Jack Goldstein, Regina Gutman, Morris Hans, May Hansher, W. Bernard Herman, Katie Hoffman, Joseph Horwitz, Hyman Jacques, Abraham Canoff, Sarah Kaufman, Charles David Kaufman, Anna Kurlander, Paula Lipson, Barnett Ludwig, Evelyn Ludwig, Minna Marcus, Pearl Marin, Esther Nathan, Sophie Oifer, Rose Pezem, Carol Piper, Sam Pollack, Bertha Pritzker, Joseph Resnick, Poldy Rittner, Ethel Rohr, David Rose, Cassiel Sapira, Bernard Savlov, Molly Scheuchet, Betty Snyderman, Myron Tarshis, Charles Turner, Harry Euster, Elsie Yaffe, and Morris Young. We also remember those who died most recently and whose families are in the period of Shloshim. They are Ethel Bloom, Rabbi Michael Brown, Sally Chordakov, Lloyd Duckman, Alan Feldman, Nell Goldberg, Leo Goldhar, Arlene Gould, Harriet Green, Howard Jeffrey Kaliski, Helen Carney, Richard Krelstein, Lawrence Lind, Richard Lurie, Donna Shankman, Cecile Steinberg, Rosalind Sakanik, and Zisha Lawrence Whitlin. And I regret to announce the passing of Vivian Ruby. We can check the website for details for that funeral. Zichronam livracha. Are there any other names to be remembered this day before Kaddish? We stand together now with our mourners to support them and to praise God's name with these words. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach me'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvachata v'nechamata, damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to those among us who are bereaved. And together we say,
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Whenever we lift our glasses and we're about to say Kiddush, or to make a l'chaim, we say the word l'chaim, to life, and we know that life is short. So we have two l'chaims on this Shabbat. One, of course, is to you, Rabbi Splansky, and a mazel tov to you on not only your 25 years in the rabbinate and your honorary doctorate, but your 25 years of service to this congregation, this community. And I know we're going to be celebrating you in the weeks to come. May 7th, if you haven't marked your calendar, please join us for a very, very special celebration. And also a special l'chaim on this Shabbat to Will Brockman, who has been accepted to the Debbie Friedman School of Music, Cantorial School at Hebrew Union College, class of 2028, I believe, something like that. But he will be leaving for Israel in June to study at Ulpan and to enter your studies at Hebrew Union College. And we are so blessed that you have been part of our community this year, and wish you a mazel tov and b'hatzlacha on your journey to the cantorate.
and one more l'chaim.
One more l'chaim.
Is for the wedding couples who are here
Yes.
tonight. So, Rabbi McCarroll, where should they meet you?
Just outside the Latin Quarter.
So, third floor, either by way of the elevator or the spiral staircase. Mazel tov to all of you as well.
L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei piri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציעד מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבר קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat l'chaim.
Hey, l'chaim.
I don't see a challah. Oh, there's a
Yes.
challah. Oh, there we go.
Baruch ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם
הוציא לחם מן הארץ. אמן. שלום עליכם מלכי השרת, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. איי 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 שלום עליכם מלכי השרת, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. איי 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 שלום עליכם מלכי השרת, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שבת שלום. שכוח.
How many months? No, not this year. Not this year. Every second year.
It's a year off. It's every
But we have
years.
programming all the time. We have an event on Sunday.